Well, hello. My name is Scott Kezerowski. I am the pastor of River Cities Christian Church, and I am sitting here this afternoon with my good friend Walter Vondre. Walter and his wife Laura have been members of River Cities Christian Church for upwards of 3 years now, and they just have an incredible story to share. They have a lot of experience with suffering. And we thought it would be good that maybe if we had a public conversation about this so that other people may be able to benefit from their life experiences. And so, Walter, why don't you say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone.
So the first question that I was going to ask Walter was, to just tell us his story. And so, yeah, please begin at the beginning.
I was born in 1951. May the 13th, and I was the second child to Carl and Frances Vondre, and I was born in Woodstock, Illinois. I don't remember living in Illinois. I believe we moved before I was a year old, and into Wisconsin. My parents were Christian. They were brought to the Lord by an evangelist named Walter LaSalle, who I'm named after.
Oh, so he's your namesake.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really special.
We moved several times. We moved into Kenosha, and as a child, I had a good childhood. I liked to play ball, and I liked to go fishing. And I didn't have much worries. I didn't do well in school, but that's another thing.
What's your most vivid memory from those early years, Walter?
Should we start out with my walk with the Lord? Or?
Sure.
Okay. I was raised in a Christian family. We went to the Assemblies of God Church in Kenosha. They'd have altar calls often, and I would always say, yes, I want to be saved, but I never felt saved. I didn't know that I was saved.
Did you walk down the aisle over and over again?
Yeah, absolutely.
My earliest memory of Jesus is praying a second time to receive Christ because I wanted to make sure I had done it right the first time.
Yes.
So some misunderstandings there, but
Yes. I think that's a lot of us did that or do that. But anyways, Christianity is in our family. I have 2 brothers and a sister, all Christians. My little brother has gone home to the Lord already. He is a year and a half younger than me. He had asthma real bad.
So when did you come to the point where you really felt like your relationship with Jesus was real?
I always felt that no one would really believe that my relationship was real, but I knew it was. Kind of kept it quiet because I knew, I don't know, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at it different ways, and I've, through the years, I've known, I became aware that, yes, I do belong to Christ. Mm-hmm. I am a Christian, and that's my stand, and that's that's my choice. And the Lord accepts that when we make that choice.
Yeah, a lot of us can't really pinpoint a moment necessarily. Something's happened to us, something's different in our life. We know that we're trusting in Christ right now, but we maybe can't pinpoint that moment where that initial trust began.
Well, there was this Wesleyan church here in Rapids, and I spent a year, my senior year in school, here in Rapids. And I went with my mother to this Wesleyan church where they had this woman evangelist. And she said that we should have a time that we remember, a time and date we remember when we gave our life to Christ. And so I said to myself right then, this will be the time. Of course, I don't remember now what it was in 1970 or 69, one or the other. Anyways, yeah, that's the way it went. I'm definitely a believer. Through the years, I've become more aware of that, and I've become more aware of the truth of God. And I mean, he even says, I am the truth and the life. You know, I am the truth.
Yeah, it's a beautiful statement of Jesus, isn't it?
It is. And, you know, skipping ahead to now, the first thing I think of in heaven or paradise or wherever Jesus' kingdom is, I think of nobody's ever going to lie to me, nobody ever going to deceive me. It's all going to be truth and love. Nobody's going to hate anybody.
An amazing hope to look forward to, isn't it?
Isn't that something? Yes.
Yeah. No more suffering.
No more suffering.
So you and Laura have experienced quite a bit of suffering in your life. Can you share a little bit about, you know, what that has looked like in your journey? What are some of the challenges that you have faced and encountered?
I thought I was a strong man growing up. Even early 90s, I was bodybuilding. And I would put on muscle really fast, faster than most people. And now look at me. You wouldn't recognize me. I'm shriveled up. I don't have any feet. They've been amputated. My hands have hardly any feeling. I have almost no eyesight. Very little. I can't read.
So how did you get from being, you know, a guy in the 90s who's bodybuilding and, you know, putting on all this muscle to where you find yourself today?
Diabetes. Diabetes took it all away. I don't know.
Explain for us a little bit about diabetes, Walter. I think a lot of our listeners don't have a really good grasp of what it is, and you shared with me a little bit about it.
Should I share about my grandfather again?
Sure.
My grandfather, Vanderay, on my father's side, was a big, strong man. And if you've ever heard of Max Schmeling, world champion boxer, my grandfather used to spar with him in the 20s. My grandfather was a strong man. All I remember of him now is he was a shriveled up little guy. He talked big. That's because he used to be big. But he was just shriveled up, and he died at age 61 with diabetes. And diabetes takes your life.
Did your father struggle with it then too?
My father died with diabetes.
How old was he?
68 when he died.
68. Okay, so still very young as well.
Yes, he died at Wood VA Hospital near Milwaukee. Yeah, he started, his kidneys gave out, and next thing you know, he was gone.
When did diabetes first start to show up in your life?
I knew I had diabetes in my 40s. I was diagnosed with it, but I could still body build. I could do anything I wanted. I didn't notice it. My blood sugar was high, but you don't feel that. It's just something a person should be aware of and should work on. It should not be ignored.
Okay. And then how did things progress from there?
Slowly, I got weaker and weaker. Laura, when did I start using a walker?
2012.
2012, the year 2012. And I was in my 60s. I was probably 62 at that time. Then it got worse yet. It got worse and worse. And next thing you know, I had gangrene in one of my feet and it had to be chopped off.
Before that, tell us a little bit about dialysis, because I know that 6 years ago you had to go on dialysis, and from what you told me, it was really a remarkable medical situation that I think people would be interested to hear about.
Yes, you know, I wish I never would have gone on dialysis. My life should have been over then. It would have saved me amputations and failing eyesight and failing feeling in my hands, weakness. Now I have to be taken care of as like a newborn baby. It's just about, I need almost that much care. My wife quit her job, my dear wife Laura, after I came home. What was that, after the second foot was amputated? She told me that she loved me and she would never leave me. She's kept that promise, and I don't see her wavering from it. She quit her job for me, and the church has helped us. Many people have helped us. Most of all, the Lord's helped us, and we're doing okay. Even financially, we're doing okay. We have a van that accepts a wheelchair. That's the only way I can go anywhere. I can't transfer. I have no feet.
Is that a common occurrence with diabetes?
It is, and it isn't. A lot of people go before they get that bad. Like my father, you know, he went at 68. If I'd have gone at 68, I'd have gone with my feet.
And from what I understand, you actually almost died 6 years ago when
That's
things
correct.
got really, really
That's
bad.
correct.
What was it that happened that allowed you to continue on over the last several years?
It was dialysis. My doctor wrote a letter, and he must have known that my kidneys were going to fail. And he wrote me a letter and said, take this into the hospital when you go. And I took it in, and I didn't read the letter. It must have told him that he's referred me to dialysis. And that dialysis is meant for people who get a transplant, get their kidneys transplanted, and sometimes they transplant the pancreas also. But in my case, my heart was pretty weak, And I kind of gave up on that idea.
So dialysis is supposed to be a temporary fix.
That's correct.
Is what you're saying?
That's correct.
Am I understanding that correctly?
That's absolutely correct. And I've been on it for 6 years.
Describe what dialysis does to you. How does it
Well,
how does it help? But how do you feel when you're done?
it cleans the blood, and they watch it. They make sure there's enough red blood cells. They can control that. They monitor a lot of things, and they're always taking labs. They keep the body fairly healthy, but after every time I go to dialysis, I feel terrible. The rest of the day is just recovering.
And how many days a week do you have to do dialysis?
3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right now.
From what I understand, there's actually something remarkable that the doctors have had to do with your medication in order to make dialysis work in your case. Would you share a little bit about that?
My blood pressure medication, I quit taking it. Yes, the last maybe 2 weeks, I haven't taken any of that medicine.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't needed it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's great.
Yeah,
Even during dialysis.
that's correct.
Okay. What were they doing with it before? What was the purpose before?
Well, I went to dialysis. They sent me to the hospital because my blood pressure kept dropping. They couldn't take fluid off. I do not urinate because my kidneys don't work.
They sent you to the hospital because your blood pressure wouldn't stay up,
That's correct.
and they basically told you that dialysis wasn't going to be working for you anymore.
That my body could not tolerate dialysis anymore.
This was about a couple years ago that this
So-
happened.
So I thought, well, what's going to happen now? And I quick made an appointment with my heart doctor, the cardiologist, and I asked him, I heard of these Midodrine tablets that some people take to keep their blood pressure up during dialysis. So I asked him for some of those. He says, yes, yeah, I could have them. It was just a last-ditch effort to stay alive. Okay, I started in taking those, and they worked for a long time, years. How many years?
A couple years.
Yeah. And now just the last few weeks, I haven't needed them.
That's pretty remarkable.
It
because
is.
From what I understand, those pills were essentially what it was keeping you alive
That's it.
through the dialysis process.
That's it.
But they were also, every time taking them, were constricting your veins, correct?
That's correct.
And not allowing blood flow.
See, it builds blood pressure by constricting the veins, and that could be why I lost my feet.
Okay.
It could be why I don't have eyesight almost.
Okay. As a side effect of the medication.
Correct. And my hands have hardly any feeling at all.
You are very acquainted with suffering in your life, especially in these later years. Walter, both you and Laura have experienced a great deal of it. And I know that a lot of people, when they suffer, they ask the why question. Why does God allow us to suffer? Why me? Why would the world be like this? How would you answer that question? If someone were to say, why would God allow Christians, especially particularly, to experience these types of things in their lives?
You know,
What would
I
you
guess
say?
I never got that far in thinking. I know that in Ephesians it talks about suffering, and it even says, "To this many are called." And I know that in the book of Job, Job suffered, and he didn't know why. He had no idea why. But the Lord won a victory over Satan because he did not curse the Lord. The Lord, when he works in mysterious ways, it is mysterious, very mysterious. And I can't figure it out. I don't think I'm meant to figure it out. I'm just meant to follow the Lord.
Yeah, we don't really see Job figuring it out, do we?
He asks,
we're not told if
he
he even knew.
laments, he cries out to God, and all kinds of different ways he puts it, and he gets no answers.
Yeah, not about his suffering, right? God just says, "Hey, Job, I'm in control."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you feel like the why question for many Christians can be left open. It sounds like you're saying that we need to, rather than question our suffering, really choose, like Job did, to trust God. In
That's
our suffering.
correct. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think there's a lot of things that are in God. A lot of areas in God that aren't really understandable to us, that we wouldn't understand anyway, like sacrifice and so forth. Do we understand that? I don't really understand it. I'm glad Jesus sacrificed his life. I'm sorry he had to, but I mean, that's the only chance we have.
What are some lessons that you think Christians can learn in the midst of their suffering?
Hold fast to God. I mean, where else do you have to go? Where else? Satan? God created Satan long time ago. He didn't create Satan's sin, but
Yeah, the devil is created, so he's not eternal.
and he's nothing but evil. He's not kind or loving. None of that is him. Our God is loving and kind, and he made us, and he understands us. I guess since he understands us, we don't have to understand him. We understand that he asks certain things of us, and that we should give that to our God, what he asks.
Walter, you had mentioned to me, I don't know, a little while back that you've come to the revelation, I guess, that it may not be about you, that this suffering is happening.
Right.
Do you want to comment a little bit more on that?
Well, I'd have to go through a whole nother big story.
That's totally fine. We have time.
A dear friend read me a story that he had wrote down years ago. He had lost his son, and he ended up on the beach in Florida, and he was crying out to the Lord. and just crying and asking why and so forth. At the same time, there was a couple driving in a car not too far away. They were married, a married couple. She was a Christian, and he was not. And she told her husband, asked him if he would stop the car because she had to get out of the car and minister to somebody on the beach. He acted like, how could you even know? How could you even, this is ridiculous, you know? And they made a deal where if he would stop, if there was such a person there, that he would give his life to Christ. If there wasn't such a person there, that she would never mention God again to him. Or something very close to that anyway. So, okay. They pull over, and she could hear him crying all the way down to the beach where they parked the car. She could hear him crying out in prayer all the way down to the beach. She went down there and started praying with him. And after a while, they started talking. He realized that this wasn't about him. He was reaching out to God. And all this time, this woman coming to pray with him, it wasn't about him. It was about the man in the car. So he went with her, and the man did give his life to Christ. And I thought about that. All this suffering, I don't think it's about me. I think it's something else. It's something between the Lord and the devil. Kind of like in the book of Job.
Those are good lessons, Walter. That one, we need to trust God in our suffering, even if we don't understand. And two, it's very, very possible that whatever this is, it's not about us. Are there any other things that you would say to fellow Christians who are suffering?
Just hold to the Lord, because where else are you going to go? Where else are you going to find love and happiness and kindness and joy? It certainly is not with the devil.
Okay, well, thank you, Walter. Appreciate your thoughts, and these are great observations, and I think that they'll be helpful to other Christians who have been experiencing suffering as well.
Thank you.